Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are so glad today to have here an interview with two talented actors from the new movie Magic Hour, debuting tonight at Santa Barbara International Film Festival. We have Miriam Shor and Josh Stamberg. Guys, say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Well, happy to be here.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. The movie's incredibly great, and I just talked to Jacqueline about it. And you're the heart and soul, Miriam, of this film. And can you talk about working with Miriam or with Jacqueline and why this was the right choice for you? Because you could have done anything. You've been in a bunch of stuff. You've been in big Marvel movies. You've been on TV. You could have done anything you wanted.
Well, thank you for saying that. I've been putting that out in the universe. I could have done anything I wanted. That's never how I feel, but thank you. I have to say though, I had just I was on a show called Younger, a TV show, and I had just directed an episode of that show. And so I just sort of like, and I directed a short, and I just started directing. Then I got this script about this person who was trying to find the confidence to do that and be that. And it was exploring all of the complexity around that. And so it felt like it was sort of speaking right to me in my life. And it just felt like, and it was Jackie's first film. And and the script was great. And so I was like, I want to, and the whole movie's focused on this one woman's journey. And that is not actually the norm for a lot of the movies that I get or projects that I get asked to do. So it felt like I had to kind of like, I was like, well, obviously this is a sign from the universe. And it just was a really good script. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, I was really, that it was her first film and that she asked me to do it felt like, oh my God, that's a lot of trust in if I can do it. So I hope I earned it.
No, I think you definitely Josh, you it's funny, your character is not likable at the beginning, and then just sort of
Uh,
you
I'll
sort
be
of
Stop.
sort of
honest,
earn it.
even a little bit. Even my 11-year-old daughter was like, Dad, Bob.
Oh, Bob. Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob sucks. Bob sucks at the first, but but Bob again changes throughout the movie, much like
Oh,
Miriam
yeah,
does. It's
yeah.
funny. I think the dynamic is so funny because the two of you change. I think Harriet gains all her power, and Bob loses a lot of his power once they separate.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's interesting. I think Jackie drew him pretty well. Like, at least where he lands, maybe, by the end of trying to find some compassion, and show up a little bit. But I think the thing is, this is obviously really like, what is Harriet's journey here, in terms of finding herself? That's the deal.
Yeah, but I have to say something that Josh really could bring to this character is, yeah, he's pretty on paper unlikable, but what is amazing about Josh is that you're compelled to watch Josh and you kind of can't help but like him because he's just funny and charming innately.
Oh, thank
And then he brings that to that role. You're like, oh, Bob, you're such an asshole,
Yeah.
but what are you going to do next? I want to know.
That's it. Sometimes it is. Thank you for saying that. Sometimes it is fun to play the asshole that you love to hate, who's not just. I mean, I've certainly played the guys who are just the worst. Period.
Yeah,
And there's nothing
no,
redeeming. But
no.
this guy's just. He is not evolved.
He's also himself, though.
He is. That's
He's
true.
like, look, this is who I am, Harriet. You go find out who you are, And that's kind of how he's like. I love when you're like, I haven't lost my spark. She's like, we've lost the spark. He's like, no, I haven't lost mine. You have though. So it's like a
I
little
love
bit like,
I love that because it's funny because Josh, I've seen you in the affair again, not a character that is often all the time likable, but still like has charm and is really I don't know. There's something charming about the way that you do things, and I have to commend you for that because it's not often that I see a character. I'm like, I
I
freaking hate
appreciate
that guy. And
you saying that because sometimes on the page when I first get it, I'm like, oh no, not another one of these guys. So that's the challenge is like how do you open it up a little bit?
and make him into a real person. You can do. You're free to mention it that way. And you're just funny too.
Well, enough about
Yeah.
me. Let's talk about Miriam and the
You always
movie.
deflect. We're like, no, don't talk about me. Talk
no.
about you.
let's talk about this movie. I have to tell you, Mary, I watched this movie and it made me dust off a script I've been working on for a long time too. So I
That's
have to tell you,
actually the nicest
Oh my
thing you
God.
could say about this movie. That is
yeah.
actually Jackie hopes from this movie and what I think we all do as well, because that's what you wanted to inspire. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's funny because
Do it.
being a what's that?
Do it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a lot of
Come
work.
on, you can do
It's a lot
it.
of work. But being a person of Latin descent, I'm writing a romantic comedy, something that doesn't get written a lot in that particular space. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But let's
Oh,
talk
that's so
about
cool.
this movie.
Love that.
Thank you, thank you. We'll see how it goes. Well, let's talk about this movie. And I wanted to mention something that I thought was really funny. She pokes fun at modern film students and also at modern Hollywood with the DP role
Oh,
of
Mhm.
Ted.
Yeah.
Ted by Michael Peñas. And what did you think of that when you read that script? Because I think she pretty much nails the modern film student, but also nails the modern DP.
Yeah, and I look, worked with a lot of amazing DPs who are the kindest humans on the planet. So it's not like that's what it's just more
Yeah,
about this idea that, and there's some people who embody it, that as a leader and as a director or any kind of leader, you have to be this horrible, scary, threatening person in order to be a good artist.
Mm.
And that's a narrative that I feel like it's so oppressively constant in so many areas, of leadership. And that is not the only way to lead, nor do I think it is the best way to lead. And that's sort of, I think, the one of the themes of the movie, that you can be the creative person you are meant to be, even if the outside world seems to be saying, no, that's weak. It's not weak if it's true to who you are, and if you really try to collaborate with people, why is that weak? That just seems like you build a stronger coalition,
She does do a really good job, I think, Jackie, of sort of dialing up those versions of power, right? Like, how do people wield power, and particularly in that relationship between Ted and Harriet, right?
Yeah.
And I love the way Harriet takes him on, both of them, and how she's going to win through kindness and her own strength, which is really like her finding her power. I mean, that is the
Right.
story of the film, obviously.
But I love that it doesn't work at first.
I do too.
I love that she tries a few times,
Right.
and it does not work, and it actually crushes her.
Well, and in a way,
that's
somebody else's
real.
somebody else's kindness is what makes it work.
Right.
Right? Somebody who she didn't treat badly.
Yeah.
Who like got the shot.
Yeah, exactly. So that, yeah, that's exactly it. Is that, it's not just like, I love that in the middle of her heroic speech, the security guard interrupts her. So like,
Yeah,
it's not the speech you think, not the Hollywood speech you think is going to happen. It starts and she's like, but that's not how that's not how it goes. You
that part
don't
is funny.
get there with one speech that wins the day. That is not how. It's a slog that you have to keep trying and keep trying, and bring other people into the fold, and then you'll get there.
I kind of really want to see the movie she made now too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I have one last question before we get to wrap, and this is the question I ask every guest. It's actually the hardest question of the day, but I loved Jacqueline's answer, so I want to see what yours was. You have two movies to watch for the rest of your life. What two and why?
Oh God, why would you do that? And like,
two movies for the rest of your life?
No.
Yeah, that's it.
Mine was gonna be so basic.
It's too hard. What is it?
Fletch. No, just kidding. Well, I mean, I don't know how to, I don't know how not to say The Godfather, but it's so like, of course, but then you need a comedy, and that's a tricky thing, oof.
God, it's really hard. It's so hard.
What are yours while I stall for time?
So for me, it would be It Happened One Night, and yeah, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
What did Jackie say?
He said The Apartment, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. So,
wow.
I could watch The Conversation a lot and but I also think it might drive me bananas. So I don't know. Like It Happened One Night's a great answer. Could you watch Casablanca for the rest of your life?
Oh.
I mean, I could, but I just find the humor of It Happened One Night a bit more sustainable for a long period of time. You know what I mean? You can rewatch that a million times, and watch love be triumphant.
Is it Garson Kanin who wrote that one?
No, it's that was a Frank Capra film, so it was written by Mankiewicz.
Oh, right.
I mean, what's so interesting is that I really actually I can't say one in my life because I need films, right? I need stories, and at different times in my life, I need different things. And there are certain movies. I remember watching Coal Miner's Daughter. I mean, I've seen that movie like 15,000 times.
Yeah.
And things in it, I quote it all the time. The line when he gets to the guitar and he says, and she's like, I can't play this daggum thing. And he says, well, darling, most people can't without they learn how first. I hear that line in my head when I can't do something. I'm like, well, most people can't without they learn how first. So like
It's so true.
There's things in films that you're like, you hold on to in certain parts in your life and you know, gravitate towards. Young Frankenstein, there's times in my life where like I needed that film, you know. So I mean, I don't know, it changes. And actually now I have kids, and watching films with kids, with your kids, like will change a film in a way that you, and then like suddenly like this film means so much to me now that I can't let it go. So we did a shitty job of answering your question.
We refuse.
Not really.
We
Deflect.
refuse.
No, that was perfectly good deflection. You almost look like a goaltender there. Well done. I actually really agree with your point about films. I showed my son 1994's The Crow, a film I truly love, and it's his favorite film of all time now. So it happens.
Which
one?
The Crow.
Oh,
Altorius. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his favorite film now. So
I mean,
so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool to rediscover.
You know exactly what I'm talking about then. That
Yeah.
like suddenly you see things in The Crow that when you were in your 20s and you watch it, you're like, ah, this movie's amazing. Now you're like, oh, this movie's amazing.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. You're like, oh wow, that really is not what yeah, perfect. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right there. But you know, I gotta wrap here because I'm getting yelled at, but it's fine.
Okay.
I understand. Where can people find y'all if they want to reach out and let you know about how awesome this movie is that debuts tonight as the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and it plays tomorrow morning, 8:45. Make sure you're at that screening too if you missed tonight's.
I think there's an Instagram for Magic Hour.
That's right. I think that's correct.
Yes, and for yourselves.
What?
And for yourselves, if they want to talk to you guys.
I'm utterly offline. I'm a
so
dinosaur. I live in the early 90s.
So
I'm not on any social media, and everyone on my team hates me for it.
Nah, genius.
It is genius. I'm on Instagram, so send all your messages for this woman and all her talents to me, and I'll relay.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience before we let you go?
No, just thanks for paying attention. You know, indie films are hard to make and they're hard to get out there, and they deserve all the support they can get. And so I believe in them, and I love that other people do too. It means a lot.
I love it. I love the movie. Make sure you guys all check it out. Thank you guys so much for your time. Even 10 minutes of your day. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, guys.
You too. Take it easy. Write that script.
Yeah, write it.
Oh yeah.